Number 5. Federer defeats Murray 4-6, 7-5, 6-3, 6-4 in 2012. Roger Federer defeated world number 1 Novak Djokovic in the last 4 to set up a final clash against Andy Murray. Murray edged past Jo-Wilfried Tsonga in 4 sets to reach his 4th Grand Slam final, the Brit having lost his previous 3. Murray was aiming to become the first British man since Fred Perry in 1936 to lift a major singles trophy. The Brit led the head-to-head with Federer 8-7, although the Swiss had already lifted 6 Wimbledon titles. Having made poor starts in each of his previous 3 finals, all of which ended in straight sets defeats, Murray knew it was vital to secure the early momentum. All was going to plan as a couple of pummeling backhands down the line helped Murray break in the opening game and then consolidate the advantage for a 2-love lead. Both men served their way out of trouble as the pressure mounted, and, crucially, Murray produced a stunning volley to save the second of 2 break points in the 13-minute Game 8. He then struck with the help of a forehand pass that Federer ducked to avoid being hit, and comfortably served out the first set. In set 2, Federer held for 6-5 before going on the attack. He came from 40-15 down to level the match with a sensational backhand volley. Murray was reeled in from 40-love when the Scot took a heavy tumble at the net, and he slipped again before finally succumbing on a 6th break point. Federer served out with a crunching ace and averted danger early in the 4th set before striking for 4-2 with a backhand winner. He wrapped up his first Grand Slam title since the 2010 Australian Open, when Murray hooked a forehand wide. A tearful Murray received a wonderful ovation from the centre court crowd, while Federer lifted a 7th Wimbledon title. Number 4. Murray defeats Raonic 6-4, 7-6, 7-6 in 2016. Murray is the first British man to win multiple Wimbledon singles titles since Fred Perry in 1936. The chance to see him win his 2nd Wimbledon title attracted a huge crowd on centre court. Spectators lined up overnight just to grab a spot on Henman Hill, while the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge and former champions Bjorn Borg, Stefan Edberg and Boris Becker were among those watching from the Royal Box. Murray was playing his 11th Grand Slam final, and for the first time he was the favourite, having faced either Novak Djokovic or Roger Federer in the previous 10 finals. As expected, the final came down to a battle between serve and return, with the latter coming out on top. Raonic went into the match with 137 aces in the tournament, but it took him 5 games to add a 138th as Murray dialed in early on the return, just as he had in winning their Queen's Club final 3 weeks previous. A single break was enough to give the Scot the first set, and he continued to press in the second, earning 4 chances to break again but finding the net each time. Raonic was unable to respond, failing to create a single break point, but a tiebreak offered the Canadian a chance to serve his way back to level terms. Murray was having none of it, taking advantage of a slightly fortuitous early mini break to surge ahead with some magnificent defence and a rasping backhand winner. Murray clinched his 3rd set point, and even Lendl was moved to applaud. The world number 2 pumped his fist and roared in the direction of his player box throughout the 3rd set, and when it came down to another tiebreak, Murray again found his very best when it counted. A brilliant backhand winner set him on the way to another 6-1 lead, and, with the crowd chanting "Andy," and D. He pummeled a forehand into the corner on his second match point that Raonic could only return into the net. Number 3. Djokovic defeats Federer 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 5-7, 6-4 in 2014. The Serb came through a brilliant 4-set battle with Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov in the last 4, while Federer eased past big serving Milos Raonic. Federer, 32, had hoped to surpass Pete Sampras with an 8th title and become the oldest winner in modern times. The Swiss took a desperately tight first set on the tiebreak after saving 2 set points, but after a heavy tumble early in the second, Djokovic finally broke the 4th seed with a backhand pass to lead 2-1, only the second time in the tournament the Swiss had dropped serve. A huge fist pump in the direction of his player box followed when he saw out the set, and despite Federer landing 83% of first serves and hitting 13 aces in the third set, the Serb took the tiebreak when Federer's forehand let him down. The Swiss was willed on by much of the 15,000 strong crowd throughout the final, with chants of "Roger, Roger" ringing around the centre court when he reeled off 5 successive games from 5-2 down in the 4th set. In under 10 minutes, the Serb would go from the brink of victory to an unwelcome 5th set as another edgy, error-strewn service game allowed Federer to go on and close out the 4th. With the advantage of serving first in the decider, Djokovic made it to 5-4 and was able to hit freely, earning another 2 championship points and raising his arms in triumph when Federer netted a backhand on the second. Djokovic knelt on the turf and ate some grass, just as he had done after winning in 2011. He then headed into the stands to celebrate with his team, including 3-time Wimbledon champion Boris Becker. Number 2. Murray defeats Djokovic 6-4, 7-5, 6-4 in 2013. Andy Murray won his first Wimbledon title and ended Britain's 77-year wait for a men's singles champion with a straight sets victory over world number 1 Novak Djokovic. In an atmosphere reminiscent of his Olympic final win the previous summer, Murray was willed on by the majority of the 15,000 spectators on centre court, thousands watching on the nearby big screen, and millions more around the country. Murray had been on top from the outset against an unusually erratic Djokovic, finally converting his 7th break point after 3 dramatic games that took 20 minutes. The home supporters were brought down to earth immediately when Djokovic recovered the break to love, but the Serb was leaking errors and his 13th in just 7 games saw Murray move clear again at 4-3. A tense game followed after Murray, serving into the sun, opened with 2 double faults, but he fought his way out of 3 break points and served out the set. Murray was the man in command once again, and when he cracked a 128-mile-per-hour ace and a nerveless smash to save 2 break points for 4-4, the crowd sensed a real opportunity developing. Once again, Murray found his best serving form when he needed it most, closing out the set to love with an ace to bring the centre court crowd to its feet. After being a break down in set 3, Murray wrestled back the initiative to level at 4-4 and surged on, hammering away at the Djokovic forehand and drawing yet another error to move 5-4 clear. All that was left was to serve for the title, and it was never likely to be straightforward. But after 12 tortuous minutes, Murray sent over a forehand that Djokovic could only put in the net. After a grueling 3 hours and 10 minutes in searing temperatures, Murray had finally followed in the footsteps of Fred Perry's 1936 win at the All England Club. Murray, who collected a first prize of £1.6 million, then headed into the stands to celebrate with his family and support team, moments later parading the trophy around centre court. He could barely believe he had won, saying, "It feels slightly different to last year. Last year was one of the toughest moments of my career, so to manage to win the tournament today was special. It was an unbelievably tough match. So many long games." Number 1. Djokovic defeats Federer 7-6, 1-6, 7-6, 4-6, 13-12 in 2019. World number 1 Novak Djokovic ended Roberto Bautista Agut's marvellous Wimbledon run with a 4-set win in the semi-finals, while Roger Federer defeated Rafael Nadal in another thrilling match between two legends of the game. Ignoring the increasingly vocal chants of "Roger, Roger" from the partisan crowd, Djokovic surged 6-3 ahead in the opening set tiebreak, set 1 to the serve. Somewhat surprisingly, Djokovic slipped into tennis limbo, shot after shot falling short or sailing long. Now they had to start all over again, but the momentum and the sentiment were inarguably with Federer. Djokovic carried his second set problems into the third and looked shocked as Federer's serve continued to torment him. Federer was playing as close to perfection as even he was capable of. The Serb fought back to force another tiebreak. Djokovic almost blew a 5-1 lead, but held on to move within one set of a 5th Wimbledon title. This was an insane match. Meanwhile, Federer, who confessed to exhaustion after 4 sets against Nadal and needing to win 2 more here, broke Djokovic for the 4th time to go 3-2 up in the 4th set. Somehow, the action had reverted to the feel of the second set, where Federer looked as if he could fly, and Djokovic seemed barely able to walk. Federer held to love for 2 sets all. The craziness refused to die. After a tense hold for 5-4, Djokovic, clearly running on old instincts, asked the chair umpire, "When do we play the tiebreak?" He was informed, 12 all. When Federer served to extend the drama for a 6th time at 10-11, after Djokovic saved 2 championship points, the 5th set had been going for an hour and 36 minutes. Federer held his serve to force the match tiebreak. Djokovic fashioned 3 championship points. When Federer framed his final forehand, they dragged themselves to the net, briefly embraced, and probably wondered exactly where in the world they were standing. So surreal was the day and the match. On a centre court, with an atmosphere that felt at times more akin to football than tennis, Djokovic won 7-6, 1-6, 7-6, 4-6, 13-12. "It's quite unreal," Djokovic said after winning his 5th Wimbledon title. Federer, who at 37 was chasing a record-equalling 9th Wimbledon singles title, added, "It was a great match. It was long. It had everything. Novak, congratulations man. That was crazy."